to the chat, man. Let's talk this boxing this morning that ain't necessarily about that Jake Paul fight. Man, what's going on, Adrian Vent? Hope everything is well with you. Viva Tu Vida in the building. Good morning, man. Another start to another great week. Hope all is well. My man Vladimir's dad, what's going on with you? Be Easy in the building. Says salute. Be easy. Salute, Martin. Greetings. It's on this Monday. Let's chop it up. Yeah, man. Let's chop it up on this Monday, man. Don't ask me about that fight I didn't get to watch last night, man. I wasn't paying $50 for that, man. I'm sorry. I know that Jake Paul won the fight, and that it might have been, a close fight, and some people thought that Tyrone Woodley deserved to get the win, but like I said, man, I do these things. I know boxing, man. So I knew pretty much like, nah, Tyrone Woodley was going to need to knock him out to win that fight because, it's just, that's how it's set up because, Jake Paul is the one that's bringing it, putting the butts in the seat and is the reason why the fight's doing well, and the reason why it's on Showtime. So, definitely on that type of scenario, you're not going to get fair judging. So, unfortunately, man, I wish I could chop it up about you. What'd you guys think about the fights, man? Put in the comment section what you thought about the fight last night. I'd be interested to know. I did get to check out Amanda Serrano doing her thing. I know my man Danny Dubois got his first round knockout, so he's back on the win streak and all that good stuff. So, there was some good professional boxing out on that card. Just wasn't, just couldn't get my interest up. Just can't get there yet with the celebrity boxing matches, man. I would rather watch old school boxing matches, and just. Is that better? Sorry about that, Vladimir's dad. Let me back up, man. I'll start doing that again. The volume should be better now. Adrian Vin in the building. What's going on, man? Viva Tu Vida in the building. What's happening with you, man? Vladimir's dad said, punch that. Yeah, man, punch that like button on the way in, man. And Be Easy says, salute, Martin. Greetings from on this Monday. Let's chop it up. Yeah, man. So what I was saying right when I got to Be Easy's deal is I didn't actually get a chance to watch the Jake Paul fight. I wasn't supporting that man with $60. So because it's just, to me, it's not real boxing. And I just haven't gotten to the stage where, I really feel like supporting YouTube fighters for that amount of money. If they had that just on regular Showtime or something like that, then maybe I would have supported it. But for $60, that seemed like to be a little bit much, man, for me. But our understanding was it was an entertaining fight, and that Jake Paul. It's your boy Al said, to be honest, Jake is doing a great job and did a great job. He's using those jabs in the ring quite fine. Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, I couldn't find a stream that worked, man. But he said it was terrible. I watched it 3:30 this morning on YouTube, and it was a draw, in my opinion. Yeah, I guess I'll watch it later on this afternoon. I'll watch it, maybe after I get off this, or after I get, maybe after I get off this, I'll check it out. But I just really couldn't get into. I guess really it's tough for me to get into it, man. So Ambitious Resolve said Jake was rocked and lost his legs. Ambitious said it was a draw. Yeah, I thought it was the win didn't go. Was it ruled a draw? It was a draw. Straight up, it was a draw. But anyway, man, whatever it is, man, like seriously, Tyrone Woodley versus Jake Paul, it was really tough for me to say, let me break off my evening with my wife and focus on that, man. I'd rather, talk about the real boxing matches that are coming up, even though, admittedly, there's not a lot of them, man. Man, RC Boxing Life in that super chat, man. Thank you so much. He says, salute, good brother. I had a chance to catch your Sundays live yesterday. Really enjoyed. Thanks, man. I'm glad you enjoy my work, man. That makes me really feel good when you guys say that you like the live streams, man. I do my absolute best. I tried to cover the Jake Paul fight. I tried to do it, but the motivation for there is just, it's not there. Yeah, it's like two amateur fights. Just look at like two amateur bout. Yeah, I do look at it as an amateur bout, a $60 amateur bout. Man, that's Devin Goins in the building, man. Said, Martin, you the man, bro. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, hit that like button on the way in, man. We got 66 people in the building. Hit the like as you on the way in. But what I wanted to talk about is Deontay Wilder, man. And I've been looking and going over these tapes and looking at the the things that he's been saying. And man, I really think that he can really execute what he's trying to do. That he'll be able to get. Said Tyron didn't let his hands go. Yeah, I mean that's something that people are always saying, that they don't let their hands go, man. It wasn't. He said it wasn't even that amateurs have better skill sets than both of them. It's entertainment. That is entertainment, man. It's 100% entertainment. It's the environment that goes on into the fight. It's not really about how good the boxing is. It's about how entertaining, you can make the environment around the boxing match. And that they do a really good job, man. They make that shit very entertaining. It makes you care about care a little bit about the fighters and care about what's going on. They put the high production with it. So, hopefully, man, that fad can really that fad can feed into something in the real world of boxing. You know what I mean? But you guys seem like CG Cap said Tyron threw an average of 18 punches a round. That's not a lot, man. Definitely not trying to let himself up too much, man. Dwayne Dash said that fool Woodley embarrassed himself. I don't think money is worth pride like that. I mean, these guys are not boxers, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, see, this is disrespectful. When he starts calling, like Jake is calling out Canelo, I think Jake would die in the ring. I mean, dude, Jake couldn't beat Gervonta Tank Davis. I mean, and he's a cruiserweight. I mean, what are you bragging about? But they do what they do. They're gonna do the things that they do. Be easy in that super chat, man. He said if Jake Paul fights a real boxer, he will get starched like a shirt from the cleaners. Yeah, eventually, but he's not gonna. He's not going to fight a real boxer. He's going to find somebody else. Serrano won yesterday. I did make sure I checked for Serrano and I checked for Daniel Dubois. And Daniel Dubois won in a first round knockout. So good deal, Daniel Dubois. He seems like he's back on the heavyweight. He's back on the heavyweight track. So, but I do got to complain about his outfits, man. I don't know what is he wearing tights for with a leather jacket. Like that was a little bit crazy looking, man. The Bushid said Jake Paul better stay away from any legitimate cruiserweight. Yeah, but he's a cruiserweight dude fighting at whatever the weight class, whatever this weight class is that he's fighting at is. Well, I mean, what is Tyron Woodley? Tyron Woodley is a welterweight, right? But look, man, there's a sucker born every day, man, and I wasn't trying to be the sucker yesterday. Like, I know that I was not going to get any top level boxing out of that. So I was like, it's usually I'll even pay for the fight. You said he's 200 pounds. Yeah, 200 pounds. I mean, even when I saw Floyd Mayweather fight Jake Paul, man, I mean, dude, that was a debacle. The Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Logan Paul. Man, that honestly, man, I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. stepped a little too low, man, in that particular fight. Even seeing somebody like Logan Paul wailing away on him, even though he wasn't really connecting on anything, it's just it's beneath Floyd Mayweather, man. And I think certain point in times, man, cats need to understand certain things can be beneath you. Can be beneath you, man. And that fight with Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather Jr., honestly, man, I think that was beneath him, man. He said, nah, I refuse to pay for that either, Fannon. Couldn't do it. Yeah, I couldn't come off 59. I couldn't come off $60 for that. That was just not going to happen, man. Dwayne Dash said, it's funny. I think pay-per-view would sell way more than Bud versus Porter. I hope not, man. God, dog, man, I hope not. But it's not boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's not boxing. I think a fist fight between Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson may do a lot. If you price it right and you hype it enough, might do well. But it's just not boxing, man. But I think the promoters and just, the way the promoters in boxing relate to each other, man, should find this stuff as being embarrassing, man. Because quiet as kept, man, it may outsell Manny Pacquiao. What's going on, Trey Boy? How you feeling, man? Fred Hampton said that fight was fraud. Logan and Woodley fooled the public. Woodley sold himself out, man. Look, man. Potato Chip 77 said Montana. Much love in that super chat, man. Montana Love had a heck of a chin. He ate a mean shot last night and didn't go down. Yeah, Montana Love. Yeah, that was the other fight that was on there, man. But didn't he win? Who did he beat? Wayne Cash said it's true, though, because Porter Bud struggling for a $10 million purse bid and Showtime putting on nonsense like this. Yeah, I don't know how much they paid for that, though. You know what I mean? It was a Sunday night. They put it on Sunday nights. I don't know how much they paid for that, man. I don't know, because the pay-per-view, they probably could have cut a deal and was like, hey, man, what you get on pay-per-view is what you get paid. But they were just, all they did is dedicate the time slot to it. I don't think that they were paying, I don't think they paid, too much money for that, man. Oh, he beat Baranachek. He said, it's your boy Al. Said, you mad and disappointed, huh? I feel the same, though. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned boxing? I mean, it's definitely in a rut, man. I mean, it's whole months between good fights, man. I wish the boxing promoters would come on, man. You guys got this shit, like, just the whole attitude with boxing. It's like, it's months between good fights. Sometimes several good months. Like, after we had the Errol Spence Jr. versus, your Danny Zugas Manny Pacquiao, right? And it is a solid month before another good fight, man. Nothing's there. Is there anything that's really on the horizon for the entire month of September? Because people sat around and waited around for what Canelo Alvarez was going to do, right? The Mikey Garcia Regis Prograis fight couldn't even get made. They need tune-ups for Regis. It's just crap, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just crap. John Mayfield said, Fannon, that's funny. None of us paid for the fight, but we all know what happened. Yeah, I mean, you can't miss the newspapers. Shit. Can't miss the newspaper. I know what happens on every fight. That don't mean, but I'm just disappointed in boxing, man. Come on, man. Can we, Al Heyman Al Heyman and Bob Arum and Oscar De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn need to get into a room and sit down and be like, man, can we make this entertaining for fight fans? To have this, they're all in their own little silos doing their own little thing with no real grand plan for what's going on with boxing. So much so that you got secondary fights like this slipping in, and it's probably going to be the biggest fight in September is a YouTube channel. It's kind of disappointing, man. And you would think that at a certain point in time, grown-ups could get together and figure out how they can make, everything profitable for each other. But, that's not in human nature, I guess, man. It's what's in it for me, completely what's in it for me in the low risk, high reward type of scenarios, man. But, it would be a lot. I think everybody, what's going on, Richard Hill? How you feeling this morning? Hope all is well with you, man. Said Treyboy89 said Woodley looked uncomfortable in the ring. His stance was killing me. He was flat-footed the whole time. Yeah, man, he's not a boxer. He's not a boxer, man. And it's not. And at a certain point in time, man, one of these dudes is gonna mess around and get hurt. And he's not a boxer, and he's fighting a guy that is 20 pounds heavier than him. But it is what it is, But what's going? Richard Hill said, "Good morning, Noop. What's going on, Noop? How you feeling, man?" Winston Africa said Canelo can never stoop low to fight Jake. Way too disrespectful to the boxing family, bro. Jake will keep fighting on MMA fighter for each payday. How many more of those can he make, man? He's going to get another MMA fighter? Who's next? At a certain point in time, he's going to have to run into a fighter. That's the next big dare. Are you going to fight a fighter? And then when he fights a fighter, then I'll pay for it. But before that, man, I just can't see myself doing that stuff, man. But maybe I'm just being stupid. Did you guys enjoy the fight? I enjoy the atmosphere of it and all the insults behind it, but the actual technique behind the fight, not the biggest supporter of that stuff, man. It's your boy Al. He about to throw a Superman ouch at a Superman ounce at one point. What is that? I don't get that, man. So yeah, Serrano, that's for real. That's a for real fight, man. He said he wore MMA shorts as well, man. Hey, man, that's how they. If you feel like if that's how you feel in the ring, you feel comfortable. You got to come in. You got to come in there comfortable. Dwayne Jones said blessings up from Atlanta, but I want to ask a question, man. Can Deontay Wilder really change enough of his technique to outbox? Unless that's what you guys want to talk about, because you just ask. I wanted to get off the subject of the fight last night, but if people just really want to talk about that, then I'm cool talking about it. To all these people saying real boxers like Canelo won't fight Jake Paul, that's a lie. They all want an easy payday. Pacquiao even tried to fight Conor McGregor. Yeah, well, Manny Pacquiao need to fight him next then. See if he fight Manny Pacquiao. I'll take that fight. This is something that was started by Floyd Mayweather Jr., man, and it has just gone haywire, dude. Into just like, seriously, man, it's not good, man. Dwayne Dash said, hell no, Wilder can't make no shifts at 34. I think he can, man. I think he can make big shifts at 134. I mean, at 34 years old, I said 134 like that's a weight class. I think he can make a big shift at 34, man. Richard Hill said anything is possible. Yeah, exactly, man. Treyboy X said, yes, Wilder will outbox and outwork Fury. Those body shots he's working on is looking better in every video. And Richard Hill said, I'll buy that. Yeah. And he said, he certainly can. I'm certainly hoping he can, man, because I think that if Deontay Wilder losing, it would be tough on American boxing, man. Seriously, man, because we had two of the best American fighters could be out of the picture. And that would be really, really tough, man. Oh, man. Kandahari says, salute, Mr. Fannon. I'm out here in Afghanistan helping with evacuating Americans. I'm sitting in the Kabul airport and watching your show. Hey, man, much love out there to Afghanistan. And bring the people home safely, man. That's some crazy stuff, man. I got a lot of respect for you guys in the military, man. That stuff is, you guys out there doing the real hard, dangerous work, man. But I'm glad that they're coming home, man. It's your boy Al. Who do you think is the future of boxing or the face of boxing today? The face of boxing today, I don't think that there is one. I don't think there is a face of boxing, man, right now. I mean, the biggest fighter in boxing is Canelo Alvarez, but I don't think he's the face of boxing. There's several guys that are at the top of boxing, and after that, there's a gap between them and the secondary people, but I don't think that there's anybody that I would necessarily call the face of boxing. Right? I mean, like when you think of boxing, that's it. The last person who was the face of boxing was Floyd Mayweather Jr. And right now I'm feeling kind of bitter towards Floyd and all this secondary nonsense that he brought into the sport, man. Wayne Dash said, I think Wilder can improve his defense and conceal that right hand, but boxing on par with Fury, no way. Honestly, dude, I don't really think that Tyson Fury is all that great a boxer. I think he's big. And I think he gets away with a lot. Because he's so big. But he is elusive to be that big, without a doubt. He's definitely elusive to be that large a guy. Exactly, man. Thanks for your service, man. Anyway, I won't get on that, man. What's going on, Southern T? It's nothing. Just talking this boxing on a slow Monday morning, saying what's up to everybody. Just getting ready for the week, getting ready for the work week, all that good stuff. Javi Air said, normally I would say no, but luckily Wilder has motives, waking up at 4:30 and to start running that makes it a great. That makes the great. They all had one rival to get them up. Yeah, hopefully these are things, though, the changes that Deontay Wilder already knew to do, but, pretty much what he's trying, but he's going to try to actually implement him in a fight. And I think he just needs to be more active against Tyson Fury, really, because Tyson Fury really doesn't have that much punching power, despite what happened in the last fight. And I'm a believer that dude had something wrong with his gloves, in that thing, man. Javi Air said, normally I would say no, but okay, I got that. I did that one. Dwayne, improve defense and throw 15 extra jabs per round will make him even or better. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I just think that he needs to be more active and not wait around so long on his shots, Lulama said Wilder started off with a good technique, watch his Olympics, and he just depended on a lethal weapon later in his career. Salute Fannon from Cape Town. Man, shout out to Cape Town, South Africa. That's what's up. Yeah, I agree with that. The question for me is Tyson Fury going to come in all the best shape that he was in, man? Do you think Wilder Fury? Much love in that super chat, man. Do you really think Wilder Fury 3 happens? Yeah, I do. I don't think he can get out of it without paying a ton of money, and I would be really surprised. I would be very, very surprised if that fight didn't happen. I don't believe his excuse for why the fight didn't happen originally. I think that he wasn't in shape or he wasn't motivated. He was having a hard time mentally or something, and he made up that lie. He made up that lie about COVID. But, I believe the fight. I certainly hope the fight happens, man. You know what I mean? It's like to have 3 fights in a row canceled, that would be really tough, man. Stavros Baguetta said Fury is overrated as a technician, neutralize his jab, go to his body, defend on the back foot when needed, combo, right hand, done. I agree with you, dude. I think that he is definitely overrated as a technician. And because most of it is showmanship. He's a great showman though. He can definitely act like he's doing something in the ring. But we'll see. I'm just really hoping that Deontay Wilder wins because I think it's a lot more exciting for boxing, man. But the question is Tyson Fury going to be able to stand up for 15 rounds? And is Deontay Wilder's, going to be able to get that right hand off on him? Because eventually, that thing has to land, but he's going to have to hide that more, Bearcat Hampton said, aside from the cheating possibility, Fury using that Lennox Lewis style and backing up Wilder with the jab gave him a lot of problems. Not a lot of talk about Sugar Hill and Fury change in trainer. Well, I don't know if they've actually changed trainer. I just know that he's probably going to, I suspect that he would train with Sugar Hill when he comes to the United States during the last phase, like during the last few weeks of his training camp. That's what I would think, man. Lulamai said he does act like he's doing something in the ring. Yeah, it's a lot of, he does. It's a lot of gamesmanship in there, but I mean, obviously, the guy is a very, very solid fighter though, Political, the prodigy, son of the Most High, man. What's going on? I like that name. How you feeling this morning, man? Said peekaboo style should be utilized. Wilder would fit that style. I don't know if that. I think the peekaboo style would neutralize his right hand because the peekaboo, you got to keep your hand in here like this. You know what I mean? And kind of wade behind. I think the main thing what Wilder's got to do is he's got to get inside of Tyson Fury's. He's got to get inside of Tyson Fury's jab, and he's got to work the body, and he's got to give Tyson Fury something to think about other than the right hand, because Tyson Fury is watching that right hand. He's watching the right hand the entire fight. James Galbraith said, what's good, Fannon? Salute to you in the chat, man. I'm good, man. Just up talking boxing this morning. Slow day. Had a boxing match last night that I didn't actually get to watch, so I feel a little bit behind. I feel a little bit behind on it. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. I wasn't going to invest $50, $60 in that fight in something that I really just kind of wish would go away, because, the next one is coming up pretty soon. And if that's what it's just going to be, then, that's just really that's not the sport that I fell in love with, man. I fell in love with a sport where it was like you really felt like there was real, risk, that there was, some parity between the fighters, and there was really something, that the fight mattered for some reason, you know what I mean? And not just kind of, just for the entertainment value of what's going on, between, did Tyronn Lue really get tattooed? Man, if Tyronn Lue got something tattooed on him, man, I don't know if I would lose more respect for Tyronn Lue if he actually got that tattoo or if he didn't. Because there ain't no way in the world I'm tattooing nothing on nobody about on myself for nobody, man. He said, it's your boy Al. How's that root canal, though? It's good, man. You know what hurt more than the root canal? Well, the root canal was long. The gum cleaning. I had a gum cleaning. Like they really got in the back and got all kind of stuff out, and like the teeth cleaning. Because I hadn't been to the dentist in a while, man. So they really went bananas cleaning my teeth, and it was, man, my mouth has been sore for a week. Fannon, what's your thoughts on Usyk Joshua, man? I think that is a very close fight, man. I think that Usyk has a chance to pull that fight out. You know, I'm almost picking Usyk. Anthony Joshua, I kind of lost it for Anthony Joshua, man. Like Anthony Joshua's got a big size advantage. He's got a big strength, but I think Anthony Joshua's going to need the knockout to win, and I don't know if he's going to get it on Usyk. Usyk hasn't really looked very good at heavyweight, though, to tell you the truth. He didn't look good with Chaz Witherspoon, and forget the other guy that he fought. He didn't look that good with him either. And, you know, he throws a lot of punches, and he's very active. So there should be opportunities for Anthony Joshua to open up on him. But, you know, that's going to be a funny style. So, but I'll probably lean towards Joshua because of his size, but I think that Alexander Usyk has a legitimate chance of beating him, man. Be Easy said, "You're not behind, bro. This is a boxing forum, not a circus show." Yeah, man. It's like, it's tough, man. It's tough on me, man, because I know that is, I mean, like people in boxing, it's in a boxing ring, but it's just not boxing, man. You know what I mean? Even like the subject matters on the videos that I do today are not related to this. You know what I mean? What about Montana? Yeah, congratulations to Montana Love last night for knocking out Baranachik. Baranachik said he's going to change his style, but hey, man, you got to go with what works you. But Baranachik is a good fighter. Montana Love, to get past Baranachik and stop Baranachik, that says some good things about Montana Love, without a doubt. Mike Tyson said in a recent podcast he's finally planning on fighting Joshua for titles in 2022. Man, Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson better sit down, man, before Mike Tyson gets hurt. Mike Tyson, now, that was a sideshow that was actually a good sideshow. The exhibition fight between Roy Jones and the exhibition between between Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, that was actually pretty decent, man. I enjoyed that, but he said, "I'm so ready to see a Gary Russell Jr. fight, but who? Please, Gary Russell, will you fight somebody? Will you fight? I don't care who it is, man. Please let me get a Gary Russell Jr. fight. That is boxing, dude. Every time I look at Gary Russell Jr., man, my mind, I'm like, God, dog, this guy can fight. His brothers can fight. Those guys have a skill set where you're watching that fight and you're like, man, these guys right here, man, these guys right here, those are real fighters, dude. Not that crap, dude. That is crap that people paid $60 for, man. It's crap. It's like paying for a street fight, man. Man, Wayne Dash said Gary Russell on the shelf, the top shelf. Man, I mean, it's once he only fights when you get a mandatory. I know that he was pushing to fight the Leo Santa Cruz fight, but I don't even think he's going to get the Leo Santa Cruz fight, man. Gino was there. He said, "Who you got, Ife Ajagbe or Hey, by the way, gone." Thank you for bringing me back around to real boxing. I don't care if they're fantasy fights or not. Thank you for asking me questions about real boxing matches in the actual sport of boxing, right? And not talking about that circus show, because I just can't get into it to save my life, man. And my daughter tells me, you should do it. And I'm like, I really can't get into it. It's too difficult, man. This channel is like really about serious boxing and serious boxers. And when you pull, it's like, I feel like I'm doing a video about it. I feel like I'm doing a UFC video. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like to me when I talk about Jake Paul. I feel like I'm talking about an entirely different sport, and I'm just doing it for the views. And that just doesn't, I like to talk about stuff that is really relevant to the sport of boxing. So thank you for this question. Said, who you got, Ife Ajagbe or Wilder if they fight? I got Wilder. Ife Ajagbe is like Joe Joyce, big and slow. Big and slow. Now, I would love to see a fight between Ife Ajagbe and not Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, just so I can time the punches and see who's slower. Because those dudes are slow as man, they slow as molasses, man. But I got Wilder over every heavyweight. The only questions about who can Wilder, the difficulties with Wilder is Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and I got Deontay Wilder over both of them if everything is square. If everything is square. I'm really hoping for Deontay Wilder, though, that he really does follow through on the game plan that he has on going to the body, using double jabs, triple jabs, and not allowing Tyson Fury to always go first. Just the visualization of Deontay Wilder throwing shots to the body and pushing the fight and being the aggressor in the fight is going to go a long way. I just don't think that he can sit back and be passive while Tyson Fury winds up racking up a lot of points on jabs and right hands that aren't really landing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's exactly what he'll do. But I definitely got Wilder over Ife Ajagbe, man. I think Ife Ajagbe is, he's susceptible to getting hit. He's very, very slow. I would put him like maybe around the Gerald Washington level of fighter, maybe a little bit better than Gerald Washington. But I got Deontay Wilder absolutely knocking out Ife Ajagbe, man. Tom Carlisle said, Tyson is an elusive boxer. Wilder been needing to train on his lateral movement to break down the jab that Fury has. And it looks like he was working on a lot of his lateral movements, stepping to the side, cutting off the ring on him. He's going to have to fight like he's the smaller guy, right? And that's something that is going to be maybe tough for him to get his head around, that he needs to fight like he's the smaller guy. Terrell Boxing in that super chat, man. Thank you guys so much for supporting on the super chat. Said, honestly, I believe Fury went back to really use the British exception rules for juicing like AJ. AJ on that juice too, ripped like a bodybuilder for years. Yeah, that's obviously, but if they've got VADA testing, then they'll test him over there for VADA, because Billy Joe Saunders got busted over there for that weight loss stuff that he was using, man. He said, hey, man, Gino was here, said, thanks for the lives and being interactive with your subscribers. Thank you, man. Much love in that super chat. Yeah, man, that's what this is about, man. I talk all day, dude. I love to talk to you guys. Just what I would like is you guys to give me more questions so that we can interact even more, man. So I don't feel like, I'm just up here, in a room by myself talking to a computer. It definitely, I thank you, man. Gino was here, man. Much love in that super chat, man. Sire the Ruler, what's going on, man? I ain't seen you in a minute. He said, I think Fury loss woke up the beast in Wilder. That could definitely be it. You know what I really like, man? I liked how Chris Ariola's justification for picking Deontay Wilder in that fight. And pretty much he was just like, look, man, Deontay Wilder the beast got woke up in Deontay Wilder. And then he knows he's got a chip on his shoulder and something that he's going to have to do. But Deontay Wilder to beat Tyson Fury is going to have to fight every minute of every round. There can't be a lot of feeling out. He's really got to press him. He's really got to push him and really, get in his chest and win. You know what I mean? Like, go hit him with body shots, make him be very, very, make Tyson Fury constantly through the whole fight have to deal with something coming at him, man. Trey Boy said, Canelo versus Plant, who you got? And Tank versus the field at 135. Good question. Let's get into that question. I love that question. Canelo versus Plant. I got Canelo, but a live underdog with Caleb Plant. That is a live underdog. The only issue that I got with Caleb Plant is whether or not hey, man, I feel so much better. I feel so much better talking boxing, real boxing. Thank you guys for being real hardcore boxing fans, man. And share the channel with hardcore boxing fans, because seriously, you guys are the ones I want to talk to, man. Fannon, Caleb Plant versus Canelo versus Caleb Plant. I got Canelo with a live underdog on Caleb Plant. because if Canelo's legs look like they're kind of shot, he doesn't have the best footwork. I mean, he doesn't have the best footwork in the world, and that fight may turn out looking a lot like what was that fight? Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Casemiro, something like that, but not to that extreme. You know what I mean? But if Caleb Plant can sit down on his punches and really make Canelo Alvarez respect his punches, then I think Caleb Plant can win. If he can't, then you're gonna have Canelo Alvarez pretty much just trying to walk him down the whole fight, slipping punches, catching him when he gets up against the ropes, in kind of the same fashion that, but in a much better way than what you saw with Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. And as far as Tank versus the field, I got Tank favored in everybody at 135, except for I think Tank just ducked Chris Colbert. I don't like that, dog. I didn't like that duck move he pulled on Chris Colbert. The only championship that he had, dude, was the one at 130 pounds. He vacated his only real belt got away from the number one contender, Chris Colbert. I did not like that out of Tank, man. That just tells me, Floyd Mayweather, to a certain extent, dude, man, you are really good in the ring, man, but you outside the ring, dog, come on, man. Will you make some fights? You know what I mean? We had Gervonta Davis. It's so bad that you just know they're not going to make the fight. You know what I mean? Like, you could give me a list of fights and ask me, and I can tell you, oh, that fight will never be made. Nope, they won't make that fight. Nope, can't make that fight. Nope, that fight won't get made. Nope, that fight's not going to get made. Nope, that fight's not going to get made either. You know what I mean? Like Jermell Charlo, Demetrius Andrade. No, that fight's not going to get made. Like Devin Haney versus Gervonta Davis. No, that fight's not going to get made. Gary Russell Jr. versus anybody at 126 pounds. No, they're not going to make that fight. It's just so patently obvious, that these guys don't want to have top competition. So I say that to say that he skipped out on Chris Colbert to go up there to 135. But I'll walk through him. I think he beats Teofimo Lopez. I think Gervonta Davis can beat Teofimo Lopez. I think that it'll go the distance, but I think he'll outpoint him. I think that he beats. I think he can beat Lomachenko. Lomachenko's a difficult fight, though, and I think Lomachenko's a difficult fight for everybody at 135. That dude dropped off the map as far as people talking about and giving him credit for being the fighter that he really is, man, and how good he looked against Nakatani. I think that that'll be a tough one for him, and people are barely mentioning Lomachenko anymore. Devin Haney, I give Tank the advantage over Devin Haney, and I give him the advantage probably by knockout over Ryan Garcia. So I think Tank could clear the field at 135. Now, there's a different question, though. Is Tank going to fight the field at 135? And the answer to that is, no, he ain't about to fight the field at 135. We'll be lucky, very, very lucky, if we get a fight with him and Teofimo Lopez, which is the big fight that I would love to see, man. Kavo TV said, people saying exhibitions are messing up boxing are slow. The only people messing up boxing is boxers in the different section and bodies, plus the promoters. The best need to fight the best. Yeah, I agree with that, dude. Like, if there was real boxing matches going on, like on a consistent basis, and they were really pushing the best fights, then there wouldn't be any of this. There's no way that they would be selling pay-per-view fights in a time where if you have a bunch of really great fights going on all the time, because I don't believe their numbers. I doubt the investment in those fighters are that high. Like 600, like they probably going to make a few $1 million. Those are not big cash money fights, and to have him on pay-per-view, like, just all right now. Melvin Jones said the only adjusting Wilder needs for Fury is making sure Fury isn't cheating. If Fury believed in himself from the beginning, he wouldn't have cheated in both fights. Yeah, he's a scumbag. You don't know what Tyson Fury is going to do, because Tyson Fury is just a scumbag. Tyson Fury that's what I think. He believes that is fair. Tyson Fury has probably been like that his entire life, man. And him and he's probably been like that his entire life, been trained to think like that. I mean, what kind of guy wears loaded gloves into a sparring match with somebody? Really? Hey man, we got 244 people and they're like, I know we ain't got 100 likes. Man, hit the likes, man. I didn't look at them. 246 people watching, 113 like. Come on, man, let's get the likes over 200, man. So that the what do you call it? The notification stuff will go out next time. DJ Chris Cruz, much love in that super chat, man. He said, I think every 4 years we need a tournament for undisputed champion in every weight class. Man, that would be great. But you know what we need? Yeah, tweak that algorithm for me, man. Channel needs this a dry time in boxing, dude. It really, really is. And you guys with your super chats, no shame in the game, man. You guys in the super chats really do help save the channel, help really push the channel during these really dry times, man. Thank you guys for the support, for talking real boxing. Melvin Jones in that super chat, man. Much love, and I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that, man. Somebody says I was being really hard on Gervonta. I'm being hard on Floyd Mayweather, man. I'm sick of the bullshit, honestly. Like, dude, okay, you the biggest fights. You want to make the biggest fights. No, man, make the best fights. Make the best fights. You know what I mean? They're trying to make the biggest fights. I'm saying make the best fights. Make the fights that are out there that people really want to see. And don't be so afraid of your fighter losing, man. And if he loses, come back to a rematch. You know what I'm saying? It's not one strike, you're out. It's a close fight. It could be a close fight, but there could be a lot of really good fights that get made, man. Make the real fights. Stop making stop trying to look for bullshit and get over all the time, man. Because that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like fighters are doing. It's a bunch of bullshit where cats are trying to get over all the time. Like, we know who the best fighters are, but you're just going to pass us bullshit after bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. You know, it's just, it gets old, man. You know, it's like Gervonta Davis. Dude, Gervonta Davis has not fought a black fighter yet. Seriously. How does a kid from Baltimore how does a kid in the United States from Baltimore have this many fights in his career since he got his championship and not fight any black fighters? You can't accidentally run into one. One can't get mandated or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, how in the world does that happen? Where you constantly do not have black fight. You do not fight black fighters. And we sit there and talk about how somebody like, you know, we can get on. Hey man, much love in that super chat, man. I think I got that. Didn't I get that? To my man, yeah, my man Melvin Love Jones in this building, man. In the building. Thank you so much, man. You know, come on, man. How are you going to make it to the point where you can't ever see like really legitimate fights like Chris Colbert and Gervonta Davis? You can't see Gervonta Davis and Gary Russell Jr., right? It's like every black fighter is on his little island, and we're waiting around every time to see if we can match a black fighter with a Mexican fighter. And we'll see which black fighter comes atop after fighting as many Spanish-speaking fighters as they possibly can, but never the twain shall meet. You know what I'm saying? That's why I hold Jermell Charlo I got a lot of respect for Jermell Charlo, because Jermell Charlo and what they did at 154 pounds is what boxing should be about, man. And they don't put that dude on the top. I know why they don't do it, but I think that's just a shame, man. Much love, big time in that super chat, man. Thank you so much. Chris McLean said, do you think Tank versus Riley will happen? And what round do you think Tank KOs him? Do I think it's really going to happen? No, I do not think it's really going to happen. Because Riley Romero, no, I don't think that it'll happen, but maybe, you know, if Riley Romero's is poor enough a fighter so that they may think, okay, it can be exciting and Tank can get on the inside of him and knock him out. But I would suspect that Riley Romero would get stopped by Tank somewhere between the 6th and the 8th round, something like that, because his defense. I mean, Riley Romero just walks forward, throwing haymakers, and if that haymaker doesn't land, then you know he just keeps pouring more haymakers coming forward. Gervonta Davis is going to slip one of them shots and hit him with something nice, tight, and close, and he's going to wind up hurting him, you know? But, and I guess that also kind of depends on how good a chin that Raleigh has, but I don't see Raleigh Romero setting anything up. I just don't think he's a very, very good fighter, man. Marvin Banks, Fannon, where's the criticism for De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia? When is he going to fight a legitimate fighter? Here's the criticism for De La Hoya and Ryan for De La Hoya. De La Hoya fucked up one of the best things it could have been in boxing, which was the combination that Golden Boy Promotions, because of his pettiness with Floyd Mayweather Jr. That is, I think, was one of the big, because they have boxing on lock, man. The criticism I have with Oscar De La Hoya is that Oscar De La Hoya won't work with the PBC. You know, and wouldn't get that, and took Canelo Alvarez away from fights where he was making really good fights and pushed over. As far as Ryan Garcia, you know, I don't really know what to say about Ryan Garcia, man, other than Ryan Garcia is a prospect, you know, and he's a prospect with an imitation belt, but he's still a prospect to me. And, you know, I like what he's doing with Virgil Ortiz, though. I think he's pushing Virgil Ortiz to some good fights. I like that Maurice Hooker fight with Virgil Ortiz, and I like the Baranachek fight with Virgil Ortiz, and I like that they're pushing Virgil Ortiz to try to get that fight with Terrence Crawford. I mean, it looks like with Virgil Ortiz that Oscar De La Hoya is really trying to make some fights with that kid. So I think that, you know, yeah, I mean, he's not being brought along with a bunch of just tailor-made easy fights for Virgil Ortiz. I mean, but as far as Ryan Garcia, I think that Ryan Garcia, there was some issue with Ryan Garcia taking some time off or whatever because of mental health issues. And look, man, that shit's real. You gotta, when your dome piece ain't feeling right, you gotta make sure your dome piece is right. So, you know, I don't have an issue with him taking any time off or getting his head right and all that stuff. You know, that's what he's supposed to do when you feel like that. And actually, I would applaud the kid for doing that, man, because there's a lot of situations where people will just, you know, try to fight through that type of stuff, man. And, you know, fighting through it without getting any help, sometimes that doesn't really help. You know what I mean? You wind up self-medicating and getting into a lot of other stuff. So, you know, I really kind of like what Oscar De La Hoya is doing with Virgil Ortiz. I think that's big. And I really do truly believe that Virgil Ortiz would fight Terrence Crawford. And I think that he would give Terrence Crawford a good fight, and that Oscar De La Hoya believes in that guy. But Oscar De La Hoya screwed up when he separated from and couldn't develop a really good relationship with Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman and in the PBC, man. You know, that's kind of where I am with it. Truly Yours said at some point, we do have to get a fighter from not getting, we do have to get on the fighter for not getting these fights, because if you let the promoter tarnish your legacy, you hold responsibility in that. Yeah, exactly. Well, let me put it this way. I'm going to say something about the fighter because the fighter is the name that people recognize. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the fighter is the one that gets in the ring, and the fighter's either fighting the top-notch fighters or they're not fighting the top-notch fighters. So if you say, like, I'm just not going to say something about Terrence Crawford not fighting people. I mean, Bob Arum not making fights, and not say something about Terrence Crawford, because they're in a partnership. And, you know, the buck stops where the buck stops. The buck stops with both of them. You know, Errol Spence Jr. manages to work with Al Heyman and make tough fights, you know, and made a series of tough fights, man. And I think he was one, man. It wasn't for Errol Spence Jr., boxing would have been significantly less exciting over the last couple of years. But I do get on the fighters, and I get on the promoters too. The sanctioning bodies, I just am applauding the ABC and what they did with the WBA to get the WBA to get rid of that many champions. That tells you that solution is at hand, man. The ABC needs to get the WBC to drop that franchise belt and to drop the interim belts and all that nonsense that they got down there at 135 pounds that prevents people from really making good fights. Because if there was only one champion, then there would be no ducking the champion. You know what I mean? If there's only one champion and only one guy holding the belt, and you're in the middle of the ring and there's no belt, can somebody tell me the last time they saw a fight that didn't have a belt in the ring? It's like every fight's got a belt around somebody's waist. Everybody's got a picture with a belt in it. Everybody. Riley Romero gets in the ring with a belt around him. Ryan Garcia gets in the ring with a bunch of belts around him. It's like you guys. It's like a photo op instead of it being a real, true measure of who's a really good fighter and who's not a really good fighter. Sire the Ruler said Riley Romero doesn't reset his guard after throwing power shots and then stands straight up. That's a counter. That's an all day counter. Yep, pretty much. Winging it, doesn't reset, doesn't pull, his hands are extended. You know what I mean? Leaning forward on shots, all kind of stuff that he does to try to get that extra power because he believes in his power and he believes that he's going to walk down and crunch. He's going to crunch everybody, but that ain't. I don't believe that's gonna work with somebody like Gervonta Davis. I don't think that's gonna go anywhere with Gervonta Davis. CG Cap said because Ortiz is more substance, they're trying to make Ryan the next Oscar because he got the following and the girls like him, etc. But Oscar De La Hoya fought people. Now Oscar De La Hoya Oscar De La Hoya fought everybody inside the ring. You can't say anything about who Oscar De La Hoya fought. That's another thing. Oscar De La Hoya puts like Canelo Alvarez to shame as far as his willingness to fight fighters, man. I mean, he fought Shane Mosley. He fought Felix Tito Trinidad. He fought the Julio Cesar Chavez. He fought Pernell Whitaker. He fought Trinidad. He fought Bernard Hopkins. The only person that I saw that he didn't fight and didn't want no parts of was Winky Wright. And maybe Virgil, like the Viper, Vernon Forrest. He didn't fight Vernon Forrest. But he fought what's my man's name, man? Mexican dude. Oh man, I hate it. Man, what is his name? He was used to wear his hair, had like this little bangs. He would wear bangs. He was a 154 pounder. He fought Robert Garcia's father. Eduardo Garcia was his trainer. Fernando Vargas. He fought Fernando Vargas. He fought Claudio. He fought everybody, man. So if you were going to follow in the footsteps of he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. late in his career. He fought Manny Pacquiao. Late in his career. There's nothing really anybody can say about Oscar De La Hoya and Oscar De La Hoya fighting people. Oscar De La Hoya was somebody that really did get in the ring and try to prove it. And he didn't care about losing. Seriously, man. De La Hoya gave Mayweather problems. Yeah, he did give Mayweather little problems. Mayweather won that fight though. Just to set just to set that straight. He definitely won that fight. But Oscar De La Hoya inside the ring, I don't have any beef. I didn't have any beef with him, man. Brazy too deep. Said Fannon, what about Ife Ajagbe and Dillian White? Oh, I give Ife Ajagbe the advantage over Dillian White. He'll knock out Dillian White. Dillian White is chinny. That's something people forget. Dillian White is chinny. And Dillian White loads up on his shots. I'm not a big fan of Dillian White at all, man. Sire the Ruler said, how do you feel about Prince Nassim Ahmed? Why do you think nobody mentions him? Because he wasn't very good? Because he was a hype job? There wasn't all that? He was a big hype job. He did a lot of the performances and over the top entrances and all of that stuff to sell himself. And all of that was fine and dandy, but there just wasn't a lot of substance there with him, with his punches. Kind of like a Riley Romero. By the way, kind of like maybe Riley Romero with a faster hands. What's Cap, Fannon? Joe Biden's burner. What's Cap? Let me know. Let me know what's Cap. I need to know what I'm saying. What I'm saying it ain't right. But Prince Nassim he lost, and he got his ass whooped by Marco Antonio Barrera. When he stepped up, that was it. You know what I mean? Kind of like a Dillian White, man. You said Prince was he was a lot of showmanship. He had a lot of hand speed. He had power, but he fought with his hands down by his ankles, and he just relied. He felt like he was trying to be like a Roy Jones Jr. or something, but he just didn't have what Roy Jones Jr. had, man. You know, he couldn't pull off the Roy Jones Jr. imitation when he came to the United States. But that's what he was. He was like he's like an imitation Roy Jones Jr. at a lower weight class. I wasn't big on him, man. You know what I mean? Amir Khan versus Adrian Bronner. I'll take Amir Khan over Adrian Bronner. I give Amir Khan that. I'll give Amir Khan that because Amir Khan will let his hands go and score a bunch of punches on you. You know what I mean? Aries Newman said Wilder is getting stopped again. Fury just has to repeat what he did last fight. Wilder can't fight off the back foot and has no boxing skills. Oh no, man, the links didn't work for me, man. What if he cheats again? Yeah. If he cheats again, he should be able to pull that off, huh? Is that what you mean? If he cheats again? If he cheats again, hey, but I appreciate you sending them to me, America, KKK, American made. Appreciate you, American made. Sire the Ruler said, I love the ring entrance Prince Nassim Hamed brought. Yeah, see, this tells me that we got real boxing fans on this channel when people can sit back and talk about Prince Nassim Hamed and Prince Nassim Hamed's career, which when he beat Kevin Kelly, after that Kevin Kelly fight, I was like, all right, he's about to lose, especially to Marco Antonio Barrera, and he's lucky he never ran into Eric Morales. If he would have ran into Eric Morales, that would have been a slaughter, man. Eric Morales was my man back in the day. No doubt about it, dog. I like that dude. Eric probably because his name was El Terrible, but the name El Terrible got me. But man, I was a huge Eric Morales fan. And when Eric Morales beat Manny Pacquiao, I was like, and he was old when he did it too. He was old when he beat him too. So don't be talking about this Manny Pacquiao's all this and all of that when he lost to an old Eric Morales after the Eric Morales had those fights with Marco Antonio Barrera, which were some classic fights, man. He said, Fahim Sator said domestic level at best. Exactly. He was another domestic UK fighter that was pawned off as a superstar that came over here under he's like what's the guy's name that Mike Tyson destroyed? Frank, what's Frank? It's not Frank Tate. You give me the name, man. I can picture them, but I can't remember their names. I'm getting old, man. Yeah, Eric Morales is a straight boss, man. That was the man. It's your hey man, love from the Philippines. What's going on out there in the Philippines, man? There'll never be another. Yeah, Frank Bruno. There you go. I was looking for Bruno, man. Mad Max said, loving the stream, Fannon. Thanks, man. I'm glad that you are, man. We talking this boxing. Aries Newman said, Manny is great. Stop it, Fannon. He was set up by the PBC to clear the way for Spence to become undisputed. What do you believe that he poisoned him? Do you believe that he poisoned they poisoned his water or something? I'm not exactly sure how he could have possibly been set up by the PBC in that fight, dude. He had the ref was protecting him in the fight now. Don't act like the ref wasn't in there penalizing Yuriokas Gamboa anytime. Did I say Yuriokas Gamboa? Yordanis Ugas. It's a strange Y in their name. Yordanis Ugas. Don't act like he wasn't there protecting that gut for Manny Pacquiao. Yordanis Ugas got warned in like the second round about low blows. Something that was highly unusual in my opinion, especially since those blows were right on the belt, man. Eric Kennedy said, Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali. Who do you like? Oh, I like Muhammad Ali. If you didn't know, this is Muhammad Ali. This is a Muhammad Ali channel right here, man. I got him all day over that, man. I got him over Ali, over Mike Tyson all day. But then, it depends on which point in time in your career, If you're talking about a young Ali versus an older Mike Tyson, it's death in the ring. Like if you're talking about like a 1967 Ali versus the Mike Tyson that fought Evander Holyfield, man, he's going to get smoked. He's going to get knocked out. But if you're talking about an older Muhammad Ali fighting a younger Mike Tyson, then that right there could be some problems, man. Because Mike Tyson got really quick hands and he can fight. You know what I mean? It just all kind of depends when you do those. But if you're talking about prime versus prime, I got Ali. I got Ali in a decision because Ali will stay away from him, just tap him, straight right hand, just stay away from the dude for 10 rounds. Man, was he really that nice? Man, that dude, go look at the fights. And then you tell me if he was really that nice. Man, Muhammad Ali yes, he was that nice, beyond that nice. One of the most gifted athletes that there have been. Ali was a great athlete and a great fighter. So yeah, man, but you know how it is. Like everybody has their fighter during their time frame where they really get behind that fighter and they really believe that that fighter really is the man, So, a lot of people really just ride with, the guys that they were used to seeing, Now I never got to see when I was a kid, the Ali in the 1960s, because I wasn't born yet, but I did watch his fights in the 1960s. And I'm going to tell you, man, he was fighting at a very high competition level. And his skill set was absolutely phenomenal, man. I mean, his hand speed he's faster than most middleweights, and he's tall and he's long. Even for today's standard, he's still 6'4". He's taller and longer than Dillian White. He would beat Dillian White half to death. The only question that people have is like, what would he do with these big 6'7", 6'8" type of fighters? And I think he'd figure it out, is the answer that I got to that. I think he figured it out, man. But the young Ali, absolutely. He said, I'm going to do, the Ali that you watch is the Ali that's in black and white. Watch the Ali that's in black and white, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. And understand that those little taps that he's landing, those taps are those taps are doing some business, man. Chillville in that super chat, man. Thank you so much for the support, man. I really, really appreciate it, man. You guys are making it, man, during these really dry times in the boxing. Make it worth getting up and doing it, man. Thank you so much. Truly Yours said, Ali is my favorite, but gets destroyed by Mike in his prime. Mike cuts off the ring like no one from that era. Really? You don't think guys like Floyd Patterson know how to cut off the ring? Sonny Liston knows how to cut off the ring. I don't even know if Mike Tyson was somebody to really cut off the ring. Mike Tyson didn't really cut off the ring too well against Henry Tillman. That's why I say because if you go look at the Henry Tillman fight, Mike Tyson versus Henry Tillman, that's why I believe that Ali would beat him, because of what happened with Tillman and Bone Crusher Smith. He didn't do all that great a job cutting off the ring against those guys. But, I could be wrong. It is what it is. Yeah, he's once in a lifetime fighter, if that, man, because I don't think we've had one like him in this time frame. But, look, man, I'm biased. That's, somebody that I was watching when I was a little kid. And, some people could see things differently. I understand why, people might say that some of the bigger heavyweights could give them a problem. I can understand that because it's heavyweight boxing, man. And you never know what's going to happen in a ring when you get guys that are that big, that can land those type of shots. And that's what boxing is supposed to be, man. Boxing is supposed to be about close fights. Not everything is going to be a blowout. You know what I mean? Like, you could have it's like, it seems like it's either my way or the highway with fighters. Like, they're either going to blow everybody out and they'll destroy them. There's no chance. Like, people don't want to call draws. People don't want to say what fights are going to be close. Like, take, for example, Canelo Alvarez and Jamal Charlo. And the fact that people just are always, I talk to people and try to say, hey, man, we need to see the Jamal Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez fight. The answers from the Canelo Alvarez fans are always, he'll blow him out. It's a blowout. That fight's not close. Like, how do you figure that fight's not close? Those are two world-class fighters that are going to be in the ring. Like, Canelo Alvarez is not going to blow out every fighter that he ever fights. You know what I mean? He's a very good fighter and he may win the fight, but that doesn't mean the fight's not worth seeing, but we always get caught up in this, one fighter is just so much better than every other fighter that in the world if that's the case, then why ever watch boxing matches? Tyson Fury will destroy this guy. He'll never come close to him. There's no way that he could ever lose. Man, Wally Scott Bay in that super chat, man. Thank you so much, man. All right. He said they don't understand the system robbed Ali of his prime years, 27 to 30. Yeah, and he's still a beast after that, man. Real Spider said, hey, Fannon, what's good, bro? chilling, man. Just talking this boxing this morning. Make sure, let me check the likes, but we got 231 people in the building. Let's get the likes over 200, man. That would be greatly appreciated. You know, we got a lot of people in the chat for a slow time in boxing. Ali said on the Arsenio Hall show that Mike will knock him out if he could catch him. And Mike said Ali's the greatest. Mutual respect there. Yeah, you know how it goes. They respect each other, and they're going to say those things, man. Man, Philip Redden in the building, man, showing that big love in that super chat. He said, what it do, Don Dada? Man, it do it, man. Just sitting up here chilling in the morning talking this boxing, man. The good feeling, the good part of my day, man, is talking to you guys about this boxing. But, you know, that's what it is, man. These guys, I think a lot of these fighters are really good fighters that would all fight well against each other during their primes, man. You know, and the top fighters can compete in any era in boxing because they're gifted athletes that have been really determined. My man Michael Kirkland in that super chat. Man, much love in that super chat. Thank you so much. He said, Mike Tyson is overrated. He had great skills, but when he stepped up, he lost. Ali had almost 20-year run and never just quit like Tyson. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mike Tyson didn't have the prime did not have the extended career that Muhammad Ali had because he just always kept getting in trouble. You know what I mean? Chillville said, Noop, your channel is better than boxing. These fighters are weak in this generation. I appreciate that, man. But I'm telling you, the best thing about boxing is the conversations that go around boxing. And that's why we need to get more good fights, man. Because the conversation is really what keeps boxing alive. And not to steal his channel name, but I'll use it. You know, like this, the barbershop conversations about my guy beats up your guy. All that stuff is what really gets you into boxing and gets your juice flowing about it, man. Mad Max, we keep forgetting we got to see Tyson versus Jones in the beginning of the year, post-prime, after retirement, whatever. I was really enthused by that fight. Yeah, that was a good, Mike Tyson looked good in that fight. But those were equal fighters. You know what I mean? Those are two guys that were equal, that they were at the same level. You know, both were old, and it was worth, I didn't pay for the fight, though. I'm telling you, man, I'm paying for boxing, like real boxing. And there's enough good boxing out there to keep interest going, you know, in the sport. It's just that this year, this year has been a really rough year for boxing, I think. Most years are better than this year. Whose ear did Mike Tyson bite again? Evander Holyfield's. Man, and that was such an upsetting fight too, man. Because I was a big Mike Tyson fan at the time. And I was like, you know, Evander Holyfield was headbutting him in the first fight. Because Evander Holyfield was a dirty fighter, man. Man, Evander Holyfield knows how to use that head, dude, and was busting Mike Tyson up. He was busting Mike Tyson up with that head, and Mike Tyson said, that's enough. And he said, I'm taking a chunk of flesh out of this fight, and commits to ripping that dude's ears off, man. That was just crazy, man. It was nasty, man. Like, it was surreal to see Mike Tyson do that. That's when you knew Mike Tyson was a little bit off his rocker. And then in the fight with the fight with Lennox Lewis, Holyfield was that dude, man. Holyfield was a great fighter. And you know what really always got me about Holyfield? I didn't like how they thought that fight with Lennox Lewis was so one-sided for Lennox Lewis. I didn't get that, man. I thought both of those fights between Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield were close fights, but people were like, "Oh, Lennox Lewis got robbed." I'm like, I didn't get that. I thought they fought a really close fight. You know, I thought that fight was close, but a lot of people just act like that fight was some big blowout. You know, Tiger Stripe said, "What do y'all think of people saying Manny has a better resume than Mayweather? I think it's impossible. He's on his resume has a loss on it that says Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s name there, and Floyd Mayweather has no losses at all on his. And there's another loss on Manny Pacquiao's resume, that Juan Manuel Marquez, where they fought a lot of the same fighters. And on a couple of occasions, Floyd Mayweather Jr. beat the guy that beat Manny Pacquiao, and is the guy that beat Manny Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Man, Real Spider said Manny Pacquiao being spoon fed. That was Frequent Flyer RC said, "Wow, you're the first person I've ever heard say that outside myself. Evander was headbutting the hell head on. Man, dude, that was readily apparent in that fight that's why he bit his ear. Because in the first fight he was headbutting him, just kept coming in with his head because he was roughing Mike up something nasty too, and he was roughing him up with his head, and he bust Mike Tyson's eyes open with headbutts. Absolutely, man. I remember that, man. Evander Holyfield was a dirty fighter, dude. There's a lot of dirty fighters in boxing that are nice guys, but and that's why Mike Tyson doesn't want to have another fight with Evander Holyfield. He's like, nah, not gonna do it with you, man. I'm gonna make my money, and you sit at home with all that head busting he did. But Evander Holyfield proved that he was a better fighter. I think Evander Holyfield was a better fighter than Mike Tyson, though. And he had been in tough fights, and it was just his time, Side of the Ruler said, "Thank you. Holyfield was headbutting too much, and nobody called him out on it." Yeah, and the ref didn't help him with it because it was like, Tyson told Mill Lane and told Jim Gray too. You got to remember that was the first. That wasn't the first fight that he did it. He did it in the first fight, and he did it in the second fight with all that headbutting. So this is what it is, man. Eric Kennedy says Sugar Ray Leonard versus Floyd Mayweather. Who you like? If you ask me, I say Floyd in 12-round fight. In a 15-round fight, I pick Sugar Ray Leonard. I got Sugar Ray Leonard all day in both of those fights. 12 rounds, 15 rounds, it doesn't matter. Sugar Ray Leonard is too active a fighter. He's too big a fighter. And I'm telling you, he's going to beat Sugar Ray Leonard beats Floyd Mayweather. He's too big. Too big. Telling you, those guys are not in the same weight class. They're not the same size fighter, man. If Sugar Ray Leonard was fighting today, I think Sugar Ray Leonard right now could beat any welterweight in the world right now. If Sugar Ray Leonard was fighting, I would give Sugar Ray Leonard an advantage pretty much over Terrence Crawford. I think he's too big for Terrence Crawford. He beats Sean Porter. He beats Keith Thurman. Sugar Ray Leonard, man, is a great fighter, man, and is all of 5'10", 5'11". He's just too big. He's too big, man. Too big for Floyd. Nah, man. You get fuck out of here, nothing. Fuck out of here, nothing. Little mini me ain't pulling it with Tommy Hearns. With Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, dog. No. Mini Floyd ain't pulling that shit off, Fahim. Mini Floyd too busy, dog. No. And he can crack like that. Floyd wouldn't take the fight. If Floyd would be, let me put it this way. If Sugar Ray Leonard was at 147 pounds and he fought at the same time, the question is, what would Floyd Mayweather Jr. do with Aaron Pryor? That's the question. And that's the fight that I think is real. Yeah, I mean, dude, Sugar Ray Leonard is the truth, man. Sugar Ray Leonard could box. Sugar Ray Leonard could punch. Sugar Ray Leonard was very, very technically sound. Sugar Ray Leonard is the real deal at welterweight, man. Don't think he's not, man. I mean, don't think he ain't the real deal at welterweight, and that he's not a big welterweight. I mean, I think he gets him. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. is a lightweight, personally. He said, "Are you serious? Sugar was scared to fight Pryor." You can say what you want to say, that he was scared to fight him or not scared to fight him. I know Aaron Pryor would have been a difficult fight for him, but Aaron Pryor is Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor, that style on Aaron Pryor that's a ferocious style, man. But yeah, we can all see things differently. In my mind's eye, I see Floyd losing to Sugar Ray Leonard all day. I can't see him getting past it because I think he can beat him just on volume. Just because he's not going to just counter shot him, dog. He's not just going to sit behind. He's going to have to fight Sugar Ray Leonard, man. He's not going to pot shot Sugar Ray Leonard at 147 and walk around and it's not going to happen. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen, dog. Sugar Ray Leonard is way too busy, man. Fannon, he got beat by a lightweight. He got beat. You talking about Macho Camacho in his last fight? Come on, man. And so what? So did Fahim. So did Floyd Mayweather Jr. Are you talking about Sugar Ray? Are you talking about Sugar Ray Leonard getting beat by a lightweight? Because Sugar Ray Leonard got Sugar. Are you talking about Floyd Mayweather Jr. getting beat by a lightweight? Because I know you know that Jose Luis Castillo beat him, right? What do you think about that? That's a low blow. Look, man, all I'm saying is that I got Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm just saying that I got Sugar Ray Leonard over Floyd Mayweather Jr. at welterweight. I think Sugar Ray Leonard is too big, throws too many punches, and he already proved he could beat the style. He beat his daddy. You think Roberto Duran, he came back and got it against Roberto Duran. But Roberto Duran's a lightweight. Roberto Duran's not a featherweight. Yeah, he lost to him once because he fought a dumb fight. But other than that, he came back and he whooped his ass. He made him quit. It was easy money after he did that. And that's Roberto Duran. Who you got Roberto Duran over Floyd? Boxing started as a warrior sport. Now it's an Instagram sport. Yeah, that shit is a turnoff, man. Like, for real, that shit's a turnoff. He say it's an Instagram sport. It's starting to turn into it. That's because, Fahim, Floyd did that. Because Floyd did that to Floyd's attempt to hang on to the glory is the reason why we got pay-per-view Jake Paul fights covering the headlines in boxing. Pay-per-view $50, $60 pay-per-view fights for YouTubers and MMA fighters because your boy Floyd, man. Nah, it's not just because your boy Floyd. Aaron Pryor beats them all, man. Aaron Pryor, the Hawk, that was tough. But you know what you got to say about that, though? What about Floyd losing? What about Floyd losing to I see silent? And he didn't, and that's not even a Hall of Famer. Jose Luis Castillo, that wasn't even a Hall of Famer. At least he lost to Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor lost to Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran won titles all the way up to 160. Jose Luis Castillo turned around and got knocked out by man, what's my man's name, dog? Rest in peace. Diego Corrales. Wound up getting knocked out by Diego Corrales, man. So I don't know, man. I don't know about your boxing acumen. I'm just fucking with Fahim Zator. I can understand why cats would have Floyd. Floyd is not beating Aaron Pryor, man. That is a tough fight, man. Did Aaron Pryor lose like one fight? Didn't he only lose? Man, Castillo ain't going to no Hall of Fame. Brian, he has some fights that are worthy of being like some terrific fights, but I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame, man. That's a tough one on that, man. On him going to the Hall, or either that or he's going to the Hall of Fame like Mills Lane went to the Hall of Fame, some like participatory type of thing, or it's because of a fight. Maybe they'll have like a certain section in the Hall of Fame for certain fights. But he's talking about, he's not. I don't think Fahim is talking about. He's not talking about Macho Camacho, who was a lightweight and did beat Sugar Ray Leonard. But that's when Sugar Ray Leonard was just a wrap on him. You know what I mean? Frequent Flyer RC said Floyd much better fighter than his dad. Fannon. I think Floyd in his prime beats Aaron Pryor. Look, man, he might have. I think he could beat a lot of those guys. You know, but I'm just saying, man. He said, Fannon, what does BoxRec say? BoxRec says it says that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is undefeated, is what it says. You know, BoxRec says a lot of stuff, man. I don't know. You know, BoxRec gets some shit wrong every now and then. You know, BoxRec didn't turn that fight that into Tyson Fury's fight into a no contest. Look, man, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the shit. I know he is. But look, man, when you talking about those early 80s welterweights, that was like the prime of them welterweights, dude. Followed by the next prime of welterweights, which was those 90 welterweights. And that stuff was really tough fights. Like Floyd Mayweather Jr. I would have loved to see Floyd Mayweather Jr. Fight Winky Wright or fight Felix Trinidad. That would have been a good fight. I think I might give Floyd the advantage over Felix Trinidad in a fight at welterweight. That would be a good fight. You know what I mean? So does Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano got that 49-0. Rocky Marciano is the greatest heavyweight ever because he never lost. That was all a bunch of nonsense media stuff. He fought at 154. Winky fought at 154. Floyd fought once at 154. Winky Wright's was best at 154, not 160. Winky Wright moved up to 160. Winky Wright, the best Winky Wright was 154 pounds. I promise you that. But that would be a good fight, man. I don't want to underestimate Floyd. Like, I'm not trying to underestimate Floyd. I know Floyd is the truth. You know what I mean? I know he's the truth. Sire the Ruler said those guys in the 80 really boxed. Those were tough matches, man. Yeah, man. And they fought each other. They all fought each other. But see, that's when the promoters were getting along. You know? Trinidad cheated for 9. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say, that he cheated, that he had some padded gloves or whatever. But it is what it is, man. He got beat by Bernard Hopkins when it got pushed to it, but he fought him. Those guys were all fighting each other. You know what I mean? For now, what about Alexis Arguello? Man, Alexis Arguello was a nice fighter, man. Very, very nice fighter, but he ran into the Hulk. And my first acquaintance as a child with Alexis Arguello was me seeing Alexis Arguello get his ass whooped by the Hawk and people crying about it. Floyd versus Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea. I'll take Sweet Pea. A prime Sweet Pea, I'll take Sweet Pea. But that's tough. It could go either way, man. That would be a fight that would be like, that's a really hard fight to call because Floyd's not landing anything on Sweet Pea. You know what I mean? Like, Sweet Pea is just so talented and his defense is so nice that I just can't see Floyd landing anything on him. So it's really tough. And the type of fight that's going to happen is that Floyd is going to try to walk down. Pernell. And the question is can Pernell counter him effectively? Because they're both tremendous defensive fighters. So that's just a really tough fight for me to call at all. You know what I mean? Really, really tough, man. I wouldn't put in my house, man. Floyd is somebody that is a beatable fighter now. There's somebody, it's not going to be easy to do it. But you're talking about some of the best fighters. Is LeBron better than Jordan? Heck no. LeBron ain't better than Jordan. Michael Jordan was nasty, man. LeBron James is very, 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 very good. But I don't know if LeBron James is better than Kobe. I thought Michael Jordan is the best basketball player that I've seen. His shit is just whenever he needed it. You know what I mean? Like, he scored whenever you needed it. Like, right now, he's going to give you the money. He's going to give you the points when you need it. You know? Oh, I'll take Floyd over Terry Norris. But Terry Norris is a little big. But, you know, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray the real GOAT, period. Hey, man, yeah, that's a tough, tall, long fighter. Tough for everybody, man. But look, man, I'm going to get up out of here. Much love. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow, man. So thank you, guys. Now we talking basketball. No, we're not talking basketball. Somebody asked a quick question about it, but I'm about to run up off of here. Man, much love to everybody in the chat. Man, thank you guys so much for coming and supporting in the super chat. It is so much appreciated. And with that, I'm out. Peace.